You know that feeling when a man starts acting differently around you. He lingers a little longer in conversations. His eyes soften when they meet yours. He remembers tiny details you never expected anyone to notice. You can sense it. Something is there, something real, but then suddenly he pulls away. He becomes quieter. His messages slow down. His energy changes. It leaves you confused and wondering what happened. You start asking yourself if you said something wrong or did something to push him away. Deep down, you can feel that he cares. You can feel that he's falling for you, but he's holding back, and you can't figure out why. This is one of those situations that almost every woman goes through at least once. You meet a man who seems to genuinely connect with you. The chemistry feels effortless. The laughter comes naturally. He looks at you in a way that makes you feel seen. But just when you start to believe this might turn into something beautiful, he begins to retreat. You try to be understanding. You tell yourself maybe he's busy or going through something. But as days pass, it becomes harder not to take it personally. You replay your conversations in your head. You analyze every message. You overthink his tone. You even start doubting your own worth, wondering if maybe you imagined the connection in the first place. Here's the truth that most women don't realize right away. Sometimes a man is falling for you, but he simply can't pursue you. Not because he doesn't want to, not because you aren't enough, but because something inside him is stopping him from moving forward. It could be fear, it could be timing, it could be emotional baggage from his past. Whatever it is, it's something powerful enough to hold him back, even when his heart wants to go all in. And that's the problem, because when you're on the other side of it, you can't see the battle that's happening in his mind. You only see the silence. When a man feels something deep for a woman, it's not always easy for him to handle. Love, or even the beginning of it, can feel like losing control. Many men are taught to stay guarded, to not show vulnerability, to be strong and in control at all times. So when he meets a woman who stirs something genuine inside him, his natural instinct might be to protect himself. He starts to question whether he's ready for it, whether he can handle the intensity of his feelings, whether he'll end up hurt like before, and sometimes, instead of leaning in, he steps back. Now here's where it starts to hurt you, because his pulling away doesn't just create distance, it creates confusion. You start to feel like you're the only one trying. You start doubting your intuition. You wonder why love always seems to get complicated when it finally feels right. It's frustrating because everything seemed so clear in the beginning. The connection was there, the energy was mutual, and yet now he's acting like he's unsure, like something invisible is standing between you and him. The more you try to make sense of it, the more it consumes your thoughts. You might find yourself checking your phone too often, thinking about what you could say to bring him closer again. Or worse, blaming yourself for something that isn't even your fault. This emotional limbo can drain you, because it's not the absence of love that hurts the most. It's the uncertainty, the not knowing where you stand, the mixed signals that keep you hoping but never give you clarity. And if you ignore it for too long, that confusion can slowly turn into self-doubt. You start believing maybe you're just unlucky in love. You convince yourself that men always lose interest once they get to know the real you. You close off your heart a little more each time, and before you realize it, you start protecting yourself just like he did. You stop letting anyone in fully. You laugh it off when someone disappoints you, but deep inside, it stings. It feels unfair that you gave something real and got distance in return. But what if I told you that his hesitation might not have anything to do with your worth? That it might be about what's happening inside him, not between you two? There are men who want to love but are scared to fail at it. They've seen relationships crumble. They've been betrayed, or they've been taught that emotions are a weakness. So even when they feel deeply, they fight it. They convince themselves that staying away is safer. They tell themselves they'll come back when they're ready, but by then the moment has often passed. Sometimes it's not fear of love itself, but fear of responsibility that comes with it. When a man starts falling for you, he knows that if he takes the next step, it won't be casual anymore. It will mean showing up. It will mean being emotionally available. It will mean being consistent. And if he's not confident he can do that, he would rather step back than risk disappointing you. It's not fair to you, but it's real. Because commitment is not just about being with someone, it's about being ready to handle the weight of someone's heart. And then there's timing, Maybe he's in a stage of his life where he's trying to figure himself out. Maybe his career, finances, or personal goals are all over the place. In his mind, pursuing you when he's not stable feels like setting you up for disappointment. You might think love can survive anything, but for many men, love becomes another thing they can fail at if the rest of their life feels out of control. So instead of embracing it, they distance themselves from it. They don't realize that in trying to protect you, they're actually hurting you. When you're caught in this kind of situation, it's easy to want to fix it. You might feel the urge to reach out more, to show him that it's safe to open up. You might think if you just love him harder, he'll eventually come around. But that's where most women get stuck, because love alone can't solve someone's inner conflict. No matter how patient or understanding you are, you can't heal a man who isn't ready to face his fears. You can only exhaust yourself trying, and this is where the agitation reaches its peak, because you start giving more than you receive. You start trying to prove your value when in truth, you shouldn't have to. You begin carrying the emotional weight of both people. You wait for signs that he's finally ready. But those signs never come. Instead, you end up feeling smaller and more uncertain about your own worth. The sadness turns into quiet frustration. The frustration turns into resentment. And slowly you start questioning whether love is even worth it anymore. That's why it's so important to understand this dynamic clearly. He might be falling for you but unable to pursue you because of what's happening inside him. And if you don't recognize that, you might end up blaming yourself for something you couldn't control. You might keep chasing closure that never comes. Or worse, you might start shrinking your own light just to fit into his comfort zone. And that's not the love you deserve. The moment you realize this truth, something shifts inside you. You stop taking his hesitation personally. You stop trying to fix what isn't yours to fix. You begin to understand that a man's readiness has nothing to do with your beauty, your kindness, or your effort. It has everything to do with where he is emotionally. And the more you respect that boundary, the more peace you'll find within yourself. Because love should never feel like begging for attention. It should never feel like waiting in uncertainty. It should feel mutual. Now let's move toward the solution. The way out of this confusion starts with clarity. When you notice that he's pulling away, instead of chasing, take a step back yourself. Observe, not to play games, but to protect your own energy. If he's truly interested but conflicted, he'll use that space to figure himself out. If he's not, then your distance will make that clear. Either way, you win clarity. Second, start focusing on your emotional boundaries. You can care deeply for someone without losing yourself in the process. That means you can listen, understand, and support. But you do not have to wait endlessly. You do not have to keep proving your worth. The right man will never need you to convince him. He will know your value and move toward you despite his fears. Because real love is not about being ready for a perfect moment. It's about being brave enough to choose someone even when life feels uncertain. Also, don't underestimate the power of silence. When you stop chasing, your energy shifts. He will feel it. And if he truly feels something real, that silence will speak louder than any message. It will make him confront his own emotions. It will show him what he risks losing if he doesn't act. But even if he doesn't return, you'll still have your self-respect, and that's something no one should ever take from you. The truth is, sometimes a man needs to lose your presence to realize your importance. Sometimes your absence is the only thing that wakes him up, and if he never wakes up, that's your answer too. You deserve a love that doesn't hesitate. You deserve someone who looks at you and knows you're worth pursuing, not someone who keeps you guessing. When you let go of trying to make him choose you, you make space for someone who will. That doesn't mean you harden your heart or stop believing in love. It means you learn to recognize the difference between potential and effort, between words and action, between someone who likes the idea of you and someone who's ready for the reality of you. You see, love doesn't have to be dramatic to be real. It doesn't have to be filled with push and pull. The healthiest kind of love grows in honesty and effort. It's calm, it's steady, it's mutual. So when you meet someone who's falling for you but can't pursue you, remember this. His inability to move forward is his own lesson, not your responsibility. You can care, you can empathize, but you don't have to wait, because waiting for someone who isn't ready doesn't prove your loyalty. It only delays your happiness, and your life is too precious for that. You were not put here to be someone's maybe. You were meant to be someone's choice. So take your time, but don't settle for confusion. Be patient, but not at the cost of your peace. Trust that the right person will not make you question your worth. And one day, you'll look back and realize that the man who couldn't pursue you was never meant to stay. He was only meant to teach you how to recognize your own strength, how to value your energy, how to choose yourself when someone else can't. That's when you'll stop wondering why he pulled away and start feeling grateful that you didn't chase someone who wasn't ready for your kind of love. Because the truth is, the right love doesn't make you anxious. It makes you calm. It doesn't confuse you. It makes things clear. And when that love arrives, you'll understand why all the ones that couldn't stay had to leave first.